Section 7.5, using percent equations. So in our previous lesson, because we skipped 7.4, we learned how to solve percent questions using the percent proportion, and that's a great method. But this lesson will show you how to solve the same types of problems in a different way. Some of you might find this easier, some of you might find the other easier. It's okay either way. So with the percent proportion, we had the is over of equals percent over 100. Now, the good thing I think about this is it might make a little more sense what we're doing and why, even though I don't think it's hard to follow the other pattern. But anyway, I'm talking too much about other things. The percent equation, we have part equals percent times the whole. Now, one important thing to remember, though, is when we did the proportion, we left the percent as a whole number. Like if it said 45%, we plugged in 45. But in this one, you'll plug it in decimal form. So if they say 45%, we'll plug in 0.45. And what we called is before is the part. What we called of before is the whole. So you'll still know how to plug things in because this is your is, this is your of, and the percent will also be clear. Okay. So find 62% of 75. Okay. So we don't know the part because that's the is. So we'll say x equals 0.62 because I changed the percent to its decimal form of 75 because that's the whole. 75 is the whole. We're trying to find out what part makes up 62% of it. And you will be allowed to use calculators here as well. Just realized I forgot to have mine out, so let me pull that out. And there we go. 0.62 times 75 is 46.5. Okay. Find 45% of 70. So remember, of goes with the whole, so it's a similar format to the one we did before. So 0.45 of 70, so 45% of 70. We multiply those two together, we get 31.5. Okay, now next example. 287 is what percent of 410? 287 is, so that's the part. 287, what percent, so we don't know the percent, of 410. So that's the whole, because of goes with the whole. Okay, so we'll divide both sides by 410. And we'll get x is equal to 0.7. Now remember, what we were solving for is the percent. So this is the decimal form, but we want to convert that by moving it over 2 spots and writing the final answer as 70%. So it's something important to remember. When you're solving the percent, you'll need to change it out of its decimal form and put it back in percent form. And don't forget the percent sign either. Okay, the same will be true in this one. 15 is, that's the part, that is the part that we put first. What percent of 125? And just, if you'd rather write 125x because the variable usually goes second, that's okay. I'm just keeping it in the exact same order they have it written here. So we'll divide both sides by 125. And we get x equals 0.12, which again, that's correct so far, but we don't want to leave it in that form. We want to change it back to percent form, so we move the decimal to the right 2 spots and put a percent sign with our answer. So those of you who know patterns might notice we solve for the part in these two, we solve the percent in these two, wait for it, we're going to solve for the whole in the last two. So 33 is, that's our part, 55% of what number? We don't know the of. So we'll divide both sides by 0.55. And it turns out x is equal to 60. So the whole is 60. 33 is 55% of it. 79 is 80%. We gotta change it to the decimal form of what number? So we divide both sides by 0.8. And 79 divided by 0.80 is 98.75. Okay, and that's the whole lesson. Should be pretty straightforward. Now this next part is just a bonus. I don't mean bonus points or bonus questions. I'm saying this part's for free. You don't have to remember this. You may or may not want to watch it. So if you want to stop right now, feel free. But I want to show you how the percent proportion is actually just the same thing as this, written in a different way. So again, this is optional. Only watch if you want to. So we started with is over of equals percent over 100. And I think even on the notes, let's see, do I have it right here? I can show you. I do. On the notes, I told you then that is the same as the part, of is the same as the whole. So we can change that to part over whole equals percent over 100. Okay, so you can see how we're already moving towards what we have on the front page right here. Part equals percent times whole. Now here's the part I want to make sure makes sense. This right here is actually the same thing as the percent on the front, and here's why. Let's say the problem said it was 60%. Now, in this problem, we would always put 60 over 100. Well, if you put in your calculator 60 divided by 100, it makes it 0.60, which is just the decimal form of the percent. So all this fraction is doing is converting it from the whole number percent to the decimal form of the percent, which is what we used on the front. So now we see that the parts we have in the front were actually here in the first place. And the last thing you do to make it look like it was on the front, they don't have any division, so we'll multiply both sides by the whole to get rid of it as the denominator. So remember, I know these are words, but they represent numbers, so we can work with them just like numbers. So the whole cancels out, leaving part equals percent times the whole. And lo and behold, you can see how the percent proportion we learned in section 7.3 and the percent equation are actually just the same thing rewritten.